Welcome to We Make Children's Books, the podcast that takes us through the imaginative minds of children's book authors and artists. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're honored to have with us the internationally celebrated children's book author of the Super A Autism is My Superpower, Edilene Afonso-Willis. Edilene.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Excellent. I'm doing great. I was, very honored to get a copy of your coloring book, your children's book. And I have two daughters, and they had a battle over who got to write their name in it to say who this book belongs to. So, always we make sure as the parents we wanted to make sure they could share the book. They could color. Each one can take turns coloring the pages because it is a fun book. There's not only is it educational, there's some really good messages in there. And what everybody looks for in a good coloring book is really nice, solid lines. And we'll talk a little bit about the message of your inspiration behind it. First, I guess, Edilene, talk to us a little bit about how you kind of became a children's book author.
I grew up reading a lot of books, and I got my passion for books from my daddy. I think he was my first inspiration as far as becoming a good reader. He used to read to me when I was a children, like a lot of bedtime stories. He used to come up with stories, out of his heart, and we always had a very great time every evening going to bed. And I grew up reading a lot of books, and I always had that. I was always had that thing with me that I'm gonna write a book someday. And then coming from a long way, raising a child with autism, nonverbal, and researching out there and realizing there are not so many books for children with autism. And then I decided to finally take that dream out of the paper and turn into reality. Then by writing my first book, Super A, Autism is My Superpower.
I have, as I mentioned, my two daughters. I have them hanging out over here, and they're going to ask you a couple questions. So they love the coloring book. And when I told them that Edilene was going to be my guest on the show, they had to quickly finish their dinner. They had to come down here, and they're going to ask you a couple questions. So through the magic of editing, they're going to be here now, and they're going to ask you a couple questions. So
awesome.
So I'm going to have them. So you girls, you want to ask Edilene, you can ask her each like a question. If you have two, you can ask two. But
did you have to make the book on like a laptop or something?
Well, I really enjoy writing. So at first, when I started putting the Super A ideas and thoughts together, I started like handwriting everything, and then when I was done writing on the paper, in a piece of paper, I started typing, and I transferred to my computer the whole story organized, and yes.
So, what's your question, Elizabeth?
How did you get the idea for this book?
I get all the inspiration from my son Aiden, actually, because he has autism, and then I thought about writing a children's book, but I wasn't sure what type of book I was going to start writing. And then Aiden was my big inspiration. He's 8 year old. He's 8 year old, and he's nonverbal. And yeah, he was diagnosed with autism when he was only 2. So it's been a long road. With learning a lot from Aiden, and then I started research. I was like, I think I wanna write a book, and I want to talk about autism, because autism is always a subject very close to my heart. And when I thought about the book, I started researching, and I was like, I want to create something for them, like, and then I want to, talk about autism in the book, but I also want to create something that they can touch it, they can enjoy it. That's why I came up with the idea of creating a coloring book. Um, and then I started researching, and I realized there are not so many books for children with autism out there. We do have a lot of books that touch the autism subject, but it's for parents, for teachers, for everybody else. But for the autistic children themselves, I didn't see much out there. I was like, well, that's it. I want to create one, and then we start from there. So yeah, that's how the whole idea about creating the affirmation coloring book for kids with autism is
Oh,
started.
all right. Thank you, girls, for asking the great questions. Well, thank you, Adeline, for answering those questions. And so now we've kind of learned a background of also your inspiration behind your book. So Elizabeth kind of stole some of my questions, so now I have to go through my list and jump back into one of my other questions, because you had a really good background of your inspiration behind the book. Um, so talk to us a little bit, kind of go deeper into it. So what challenges did you face when first learning about your son's diagnosis, and how did those experiences, as you say, lead to creating the affirmation coloring book?
It always hit us so hard and deep. When
Mm,
you expecting a son, you get so excited to bring him into the world, and then out of the Sunday, after a while, we realize, he was born different.
mm,
And at first, I remember when Aiden was diagnosed with autism at age 2. It was scary for me. I was very sad. A lot of doubts and fear comes into your mind, because you're like, now what? What does that mean? What am I going to do from now on? How I can help him? And yeah, and then we started our very long journey figuring out what autism means, and how to deal with it, how to involve people around us and make them understand also what autism means. And then from Aiden, I got all my inspiration to write a book about autism. And it was always like being a mother of a autistic child. It's very challenging, because the society out there, they don't truly, they still don't understand, unless they have a kid with autism. They really don't truly understand what autism like really means. And we face, like, all the judgments, like when Aiden, for example, he throws a lot of tantrum in a lot of times when he does that in public, like at a restaurant or at the mall. People give me that look and say, hey, like they kind of look at you saying, hey, lady, just you don't know how to, educate your kid is misbehaving. And people, they
mm,
have no idea, like, behind uh the story behind it, that kid, that family. And I realized throughout those years, because Ada is being he's been going through all kind of therapies to help him with his development delay. And for him, it's being like his progress is being so slow throughout the years, but it's happening.
mm,
We, we've been learning. I'm always read and research and learn as much as I can about autism, so I'll be able to help him. And I read a lot of books on this subject. And then I also realized, throughout his journey, navigating life with autism, people, they do come around to say a lot of negative things about those kids. Like it's so easy to look at them and judge and quick say, oh, poor Aiden, he'll never talk, oh my gosh, um oh, he can't do this, he can't, oh, he needs help dressing up, he can't do that. And autistic kids, they do understand a lot of things. You might be surprised by how they are smart, by how much of the things they see, they hear, they understand in so many levels. And
Mm.
I I I got to just I got sick and tired of hearing people just pointing at him all the things he cannot do. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. How about, just bringing him a little bit of encouragement and started pointing things and praise him for the things he actually can do. Because can you imagine how all these positives, insights and words around them can affect them negatively? So thinking of that, I was like, I really want to write a book, but I just don't want to write any book. I want my book to have a purpose behind it.
Mm.
And because now, I understand a lot better about autism. I'm like, I gotta create something for these children. It's my it's my contribution to the autistic community, and also, hold hands and also help those parents, and maybe they're just starting their journey, raising the kid with autism. And
Mm.
I wanted to make sure I was going to touch in these books the subject that, you know, somehow would bring them some empowerment, that would encourage them to be themselves, to be proud of who they are, to embrace the uniqueness, and yeah, and deep stuff like that.
Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. How did you go about crafting Super A's character, and what qualities did you want him to embody to inspire and uplift children with autism?
Yes. The name Super A, it has two meanings behind of it. A, it's because my son is Aiden, so it's Super A.
Okay.
So one interesting thing about Aiden is, beside of having autism, he was born with a heart condition called coarctation of the aorta. So when he
Mm.
was only 2 weeks old, he had to go through his first heart surgery. And at age 5, he went through his second heart surgery. The very first surgery, the doctor's manager repair whatever they had to fix, like through his back. So they did like a small cut through his back and to touch his heart valve. And then the second one, it was really tough because it had to be an open heart surgery.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so when you look at Aiden, he has a huge scar like in front of his chest. And to me, like this boy, he has been going through so much. It's amazed me, like every time he goes under surgery, how quick he recovers, and he's always smiling. Aiden, he walks through life with so much grace, with that genuine love, and to me, like, he's one of my real life superheroes. So
Mm.
that's why, because he gave me the inspiration to write the book. I'm like, I think I'm gonna name the book Super A because of him, because of the whole um, Aiden's life story, and A is also for autism. So yeah, it both relates, and then Super A, I wanted him to be the character in the book. I wanted him to be a very, he's an autistic a superhero, and he travels around the world, like, to talking to people about autism, creating autism awareness, and he, he empowered the kids all around the globe to celebrate who they are, how unique they are, like how smart they are in their own way. So there's a Super A. He speaks several languages, and everywhere he goes, he knows how to communicate. Um, and he's very, but he's most fluent in the language of love, because that's what autistic kids are. They're genuine and pure love, like 100%.
What was the process like for you to balance? Because it's an amazing coloring book, and so how did you balance? It had positive affirmations in it, but as we mentioned earlier, it has some engaging illustrations. So how did you ensure both elements would resonate with children, because it's a children's coloring book?
Yes, even though the Super A, the coloring book was made specifically for the children with autism, but I also wanted to create something that other children to relate it as
Mm.
well. So I made sure I created positive affirmations that would empower whoever's reading, would feel special,
Mm.
empowered, or would give them a good insight to be in the right mindset. So I kind of come up with idea of mix it up in between um, sentence and quotes, specifically for children with autism, but also some of the quotes is just general that everybody can relate, even us, grown ups.
So the affirmation messages in Super A are so powerful. So why do you think positive affirmations are especially important for children with autism?
It's actually it's something it's scientifically approved that the affirmation can do wonders to the mind of the children with autism. They booster your self-confidence. They give you sense of who you are, in the little, undeveloped, confusing mind. They can find through affirmations a way of um, believing the unique selves, and discover who they truly are. And that's always affirmation is always a great tool, not only
Mm.
for children with autism, but for anybody out there. I've been using, and I still use affirmation in my daily, my day-to-day life, and it helps me so much for those days. You don't feel that excited about life, or you're not that, you don't wake up that motivated. Those having those affirmations right in hands and listening to it, reading to it, it does switch your mindset, like in a very positive way. And it's powerful. It's a great tool.
So, as an author and advocate for the autistic community, what changes would you like to see in children's literature regarding autism representation?
I'd like to see more books created for them. Uh,
Hmm.
not only coloring books, but books that uh, they can relate to it. 'Cause, I'm thinking now about my second book, and I started writing now already.
Hmm.
And it's about um, how it's about to how it feels like being a sibling of an autistic child. Like,
Okay.
and I got the inspiration for my second one from Aiden's brothers Bradley, because it's interesting to see the whole dynamic behind it, how how Bradley interacts with Aiden, and the level of empathy he has for his brother, how being around of a child or children with autism uh, can challenging the little ones, and how that can impact the brothers, the sister of an autistic child's lives. And that's what I'd like to see. Definitely more books and stuff that the kids with autism, they can read it, or if it's an audiobook, they can listen to it, and they can feel they're being heard, that comforted them, that helping them um, keeping empower themselves, that show them we in general as society, as people, we care about them. we we are also trying to make an effort to understand the little world they involved, because I see a lot of times, there's so uh, much conversations about, oh, we take our children with autism, they go on the therapy, you work with them at school with the teachers, and we prepare them to adapt themselves to the world.
Hmm.
But when it's all the way around, we still see a lot of people who really doesn't do not understand what autism means. So they're getting prepared. We try our best to get them ready to fit in the world, but how about the people make a little effort to fit in the world as well, and make them feel um, that they fit, that there is a place and space here around them as a society for them too.
So, what advice would you give other parents of children with autism who are looking to use storytelling or creative outlets to empower their children?
Learn as much as you can, and get involved. Whatever talent you have, whatever thing you have to offer them, the community, just get involved somehow. We start doing some, it can be doing some type of, volunteering work with your community. Learning and growing, and hold each other's hand, and just get involved somehow, and you're gonna do wonder for those lost parents who just found out the children has autism and has no clue what to do with it.
What message do you help children take away from reading Super A, and how do you want them to feel about interacting with the story and its affirmations?
I wanted to reassure they're not less, they're just different. They can do anything, they can put their minds into it. Of course, there are limitations, but doesn't mean they're not capable of trying, of doing new things. I wanted them through Super A story to feel empowered, to figure out what their talents are, to believe in themselves, and 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 most important, to feel like they fit in.
So, Edilene, if people want to learn more about Super A, and you as an author, because you mentioned you're writing more books, where is the best place people could go to follow your work?
I the I'm working on creating the website for Super A, as well as the Instagram page. It's on the construction. Both we you can find me on Instagram as at Edilene Afonso. This is my Instagram. I post a lot of stuff regarding to what I'm doing with Super A and all the excited projects I have for Super A. You can get in. You can follow me there. And we also, I recently created an YouTube channel for Super A.
Oh, fun.
Yes,
Okay.
it's called Super A. Autism is my superpowers, the same as the book. And you can find us there. And Super A YouTube is all about, we line up stories, we write down stories, and every Monday, once a week, we upload it. You make it available for the subscribers. For everybody out there, it's the stories lined up as the same as the book. It's always Super A travels around the world, and then
Huh.
he visits children. He talks about autism, about um, self-love, empowerment, and the stories I'm lining up. It's pretty much about it. So yeah, just follow Super A on YouTube as well. Every week we're gonna have a new children's story for your little ones to enjoy it.
Well, Edilene, so when you get your next book out, you got to come back on the show and talk about your next book then.
Oh, of course, I'll be honored.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And it was great talking to you, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you so much for having me.